You stopped binge eating, but you are still overeating. You are still mindless snacking when you know you're not hungry. And you're still leaving the majority of your meals feeling uncomfortably full. And the reason why this is still happening is because you have gotten complacent. So you used to binge. You used to go through these out-of-body experiences. You used to feel out of control with food. Standing up, eating super fast, maybe binging in secret as soon as your husband leaves the house, or when your kids went to bed. And you used to go through these out-of-body experiences. You used to feel really, really, really out of control with food. But once you work through that and you're no longer feeling out of control with food, you often settle. You often settle for overeating and mindless snacking, and even though you don't want to be overeating at the majority of your meals. You don't want to just be eating because there's food in front of you. You don't want to just be having a snack in the evening out of habit. Even though you don't like that, you've become complacent. And what often happens is you say to yourself, well, I'm no longer out of control, so it's fine if I've overeaten. Well, I'm not having 3 bowls of ice cream. I mean, I had 2. And okay, probably I was satisfied after 1. I probably didn't need the second one, but at least I didn't have 3 bowls, so it's fine. Well, I mean, I don't feel guilty anymore for overeating, so it's fine. I'm not beating myself up for having a snack in the evening when I know that I'm not hungry, so it's fine. And sure, it might be fine, but you have to get honest with yourself. You need to have an honest conversation with yourself. Are you okay with maybe a better relationship with food, but one that's not fully healed? I see this so often. So a lot of clients come to me, and some clients will come to me and they're binge eating. And very quickly, they implement my root and rewire process. They rewire their brain. They're no longer having strong urges to binge. But once you've worked through your binge eating, the next steps is working through overeating, mindless snacking, emotional eating. And again, it's a lot of the times, but it's okay that I had more pizza than I needed to because I was more aware. I'm not feeling guilty. I'm not feeling bad. And yes, you should be so proud of yourself if you've worked through binge eating, because man, oh man, feeling out of control with food is not fun. So it's great that you are no longer binge eating. That's fantastic. But you can't settle for feeling overly full at the majority of your meals. You can't just settle for continuing to mindlessly snack when you know you're not hungry, because unstoppable badasses who are unstoppable, don't just stop at an okay relationship with food. They continue working through their relationship with food until it's fully healed. You might have gotten complacent. And I remember being there. I remember I was no longer binging. I was still overeating. I was just every single night, I just had a snack, even though I wasn't even hungry. I'd leave my meals uncomfortably full. And there was a part of me that said, it's fine. Like, thank God I'm no longer out of control. I'm not beating myself up anymore. I don't feel bad for ordering the pizza. I don't feel guilty for having a snack at night. But there was this complacency. I saw this with myself. I see this with, some clients, right? And I support them through this. And you might be going through this right now. I have a lot of clients right now that are like, Lorna, I'm not binging anymore, but I'm still turning to food when I'm overwhelmed. Lorna, I'm not binging anymore, but I'm still overeating. And you can't become complacent. You can't stop using the tools. Because another thing is a lot of the times people will, implement certain tools to help them stop binge eating, to help them feel less impulsive with food. And then they're no longer binging, and then they don't bother checking in with hunger and fullness cues. They don't bother regulating their nervous system. They don't bother being intentional with their meals, like actually being present, sitting down. And they kind of throw the tools out the window. They're like, well, I'm no longer out of control, but you still need to use the tools to help you to stop your overeating. You still need to use specific tools to help you to work through your overwhelm, your stress, so that you're no longer emotionally eating. It's fantastic that you stopped your binges. But if you really want a relationship with food that's fully healed, you cannot become complacent. You can't settle for an okay relationship with food where you're no longer binging, but you're still overeating. And listen, okay? Some people will be okay with a still kind of rocky relationship with food. Some people are like, as long as I'm not out of control, I'm fine. But then there's you, the badass, that's like, no, I don't want to just have an okay relationship with food. I don't want to still be mindlessly snacking when I'm not hungry. I don't want to feel the need to always have a snack in the evening. I don't want to be leaving my meals feeling uncomfortably full. Like, I want to work through that. There's a client that I'm working with right now, and she stopped her binging, but she still feels this need to always have a snack in the evening. And it's almost like she has like FOMO, like this fear of missing out. Like it's almost like I feel like I'm restricting myself if I don't have a snack in the evening. But she's like, I'm not hungry. I'm not having a craving. It's purely habitual. But she said, to be honest with you, like, I don't feel bad about it. I'm not feeling guilty. She's like, I'm fully aware that I'm eating a snack and I'm 100% not hungry. So she's not mentally checked out. She's not binging. She's not completely unaware. She has awareness. And I said to her, this is where you got to give yourself the tough love to say this is all habitual. Is it going to feel uncomfortable not having a snack in the evening every single night? Yes. Are you allowed to have a snack every single night? Absolutely. Sure, you can. But are you hungry? Are you craving something? And you can also have a snack when you're not hungry. You can also have a snack when you're not craving something. But if it's happening every single night and it's completely habitual and you want to break that because you're like, I just always feel like I need to have a snack in the evening, you got to pull on tough love to say, listen, if I want to break these cycles, I have to be willing to do things differently. I am safe to go about my evenings without having a snack. If you're having snacks every single night, a lot of the times there's this fear of like, I don't want to restrict myself, but you're not restricting yourself. People who have a healthy relationship with food, like I think about myself, there are some nights I will have a snack before bed and there's some nights I won't. It's unpredictable depending on how I feel, depending on what time I had my dinner, depending on how satisfied I was for dinner, depending on what I ate for dinner. There are some nights I have dinner and I'm completely satisfied and I don't need a snack. There are some nights where I have dinner and like 20 minutes later, I want something, and that's completely fine. But that's what a healthy relationship with food is. It's different every single day. But if you feel like I always have a snack late at night, that's habitual. And again, you might not feel bad. You might not be eating until you're so physically sick where you wake up the next morning and you're still full. That might not happen for you. But at the same time, you're like, I didn't need the third cookie. I didn't need the second bowl of ice cream. And so this is where the tough love comes in to say, listen, you're allowed to have the snack, but this is all habitual at this point. And if you've already had a bowl of ice cream and you're satisfied, you don't need more. That's how you break this habitual cycle. You got to pull on tough love. Too many people become complacent. I'm no longer binging. I'm no longer out of control with food, so it's fine if I overeat. well, I'm not having 4 bowls of ice cream, so it's fine if I had the 2, even though I probably would have been fine with just the 1. It's fine. Sure, it's fine, but are you okay with that? Rewiring your brain is not just about helping you stop binge eating and no longer having strong urges to binge. It's also rewiring your brain to say, I'm safe to go about my evenings without having a snack. I'm safe to go to the restaurant, and if there's food left over on my plate, I'm safe to take some leftovers home. I don't need to clean my plate. Even if you don't feel bad about it, do you still want to be overeating? You might not feel bad for having a snack in the evening. Maybe you really worked through that. I remember there was a period of time where, I was so conditioned to think that you can't eat before bed. I think so many people have been told this, like, don't eat before bed, don't eat before bed. So I had this season, this period of my life where I felt so guilty for eating something after dinner. But then I worked through that. And then I stopped feeling guilty for having a snack. But then I went on the other side of the spectrum where it was like I had a snack every single night, even though I wasn't hungry. And then I said, but I don't want that either, because I'm not genuinely hungry. I'm not craving anything. It's just habitual. So I had to lean into the discomfort to say, you're not hungry. You're not experiencing a craving. It's all habitual at this point. And you don't want to be someone who just mindlessly snacks. You want to be this badass who respects herself, who doesn't just eat because you know that there's snacks in the pantry. You want to be this badass who can relax in the evenings without food. So I needed to give myself tough love. I no longer felt bad if I overate. I was more aware and I had more, I was more grounded. But at the same time, I was like, I'm sick and tired of leaving my meals feeling uncomfortably full. Like, something needs to change. So you can't become complacent. I literally see this all the time. It's this journey. Well, I'm not binging anymore, so it's fine if I am overly full. Well, I'm no longer going through this out-of-body experiences, so it's fine if I had 3 cookies. Well, I'm not having like 3 desserts, but I'm still having dessert every night, but at least it's not 3 desserts, so it's fine. Okay, but is it actually? Are you okay with that? I personally didn't want to have a half-healed relationship with food where I wasn't binging anymore, but I was still overeating. I didn't want that. I wanted to eat like a normal person, where I wasn't overeating at the majority of my meals, where I could be sitting down, unwinding in the evenings and not have to have a snack. I wanted to be at, a social event and there'd be food in front of me. And if I wasn't hungry or I was already full, I wanted to just be with people around me instead of always just picking at the food because it's there. I didn't want to still mindlessly snack. I didn't want to feel like the only way I can relax in the evening is if I have a snack. Because what I also see too is it almost feels like more uncomfortable not having a snack. So for example, the client that I'm working with who feels like she always has to have a snack in the evening, she's like, it's so uncomfortable just not having a snack. But you're safe. The brain thinks that you're restricting yourself because you're so used to having a snack in the evening that it feels like you're restricting yourself from having a snack. You're allowed to have the snack. You're not restricting yourself. But it's saying to yourself, I'm full, I'm not hungry, I'm not experiencing a craving, I need to be okay sitting in the discomfort because it will be uncomfortable. Any habit that you're trying to break will create some discomfort in the body. But this is where you can use specific tools, right? And this is where you can add more pleasure into your life. This is where you can start regulating your nervous system, healing your relationship with rest so that when it comes the evening, you know how to just be with yourself. You know how to unwind and relax without always needing a snack. Working through this is so huge. I'm telling you guys, I've gone through it. My clients have gone through it. there's a period of time where every single person becomes complacent. What tools would you suggest? For what specifically? Because there's different tools depending on binging, emotional eating, overeating. So maybe you can clarify that question down below. You got to work through the complacency. You can't just settle. I mean, you can. And again, some people are completely fine, no longer binging, but they're still overeating. So when it comes to habitual eating, I'm going to give you a mindset tool and then a strategic tool to break habitual eating. The first strategic tool that I'm going to say is when you're doing the habitual snacking, let's say it's always in the evening, let's say it's after dinner, I would say, how can you add more pleasure into your life during the day? Because again, it depends on when habitual snacking is happening. So let's do the nighttime eating. Let's say you're doing the nighttime habitual eating in the evenings. Can you add more pleasure into your day so that it's not the only time I have for myself is in the evenings? Can you create more time for yourself during the day? Maybe you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off. Maybe your to-do list is nine pages long. Maybe you need to set boundaries. Maybe you need to slow down more. Maybe you need to actually take time for yourself during the day so that it's not like the only time I have for myself is late at night. One of my clients does a lot of habitual snacking during the weekends. And so what I told her is, what do you typically do during the weekdays that you can pull into your into your weekends? So let's say during the week, there's more structure. Maybe you have lunch at a specific time. You wake up at a certain time. Maybe you work out at a specific time. But the weekends, you're mindlessly snacking because you're getting up at different times. You don't have, lunches at whatever time. Maybe you don't move your body. And so what can you take during the weekdays into the weekends? So that's more of the strategic. But the more mindset to break habitual snacking is to say, this isn't who I am. Like, I am not hungry. I'm not craving anything. I can handle the discomfort because, like I said, breaking any habit is going to feel uncomfortable. So I'm safe. I'm safe to be in the discomfort. I'm not restricting myself. This is huge. You have to say to yourself, I am not restricting myself. The brain is going to say, but I'm so used to eating something at night, but I'm so used to eating something at 3:00 and I'm not hungry. It's just a break at work. But you're safe. You're not restricting yourself. You can go have a snack, but if you want to break a habit, you have to do things differently. I do not recommend a replacement strategy. So what I often see people try to do is like, okay, well, if I'm mindlessly snacking in the evening, then I'm going to read a book. I'm going to crochet or I'm going to knit. That's not as pleasurable as eating. Your brain's like, the only thing that I want to do is eat. It's the most pleasurable thing. And you're telling me that reading a book is going to replace mindless snacking? Nope, it's not. So it's not about a replacement. It's not about, okay, don't go in the kitchen tonight, go read a book. It's about, as a whole, adding in more pleasure into your life. And then working on the mindset to say, I'm not hungry right now. I'm safe. I'm not restricting myself. I'm literally rewiring my brain. So that's what I would say to that. So I want you, as I shared at the beginning of this little mini training, I want you to celebrate yourself. If you stopped binge eating, that is huge. You are so welcome. If you stopped binge eating, that is phenomenal. And now the next step is to work through your overeating and your mindless snacking, to not become complacent, to actually go all in and fully heal your relationship with food, not half heal your relationship with food. You have to be willing to sit in the discomfort. You have to continue checking in with yourself. It's great you're not feeling guilty anymore. It's great you're not tracking your food. It's great you're not out of control. But someone who has an effortless relationship with food, someone who eats like a normal person, they're not overeating. They're not snacking because the food's in front of them. They're not snacking because their kids are snacking. They're not snacking because their husband pulls out a snack and it's like, well, might as well just eat as well too. It's like a badass respects herself. A badass is like, I'm just bored right now, but that's fine. I can just be with myself. I don't need food to comfort myself. A badass says, okay, I've had a few cookies. My body wants more out of habit, but I'm satisfied. So is it uncomfortable not getting more? Absolutely, because you're so used to going back for more and now you don't feel bad about it, so you go back for more, and now it's like, no, I'm going to stop doing that. I have to break that habitual cycle. So I wanted to come on and share this with you guys because this is so important. I want to see you fully conquer emotional eating, binge eating, overeating. These are all things that I work on with my clients. I don't just help you with binge eating. I help you work through your emotional eating, processing through your stress, your overwhelm, setting better boundaries in place, regulating your nervous system so you don't use food for comfort, rewiring your brain to stop habitually overeating, no longer mindlessly snacking, especially in the evenings, how to sit with the discomfort. So this is really important. I want to see you completely conquer, not just binge eating, because maybe you've already worked through that, but you have to stop settling for an okay relationship with food. You deserve the most effortless relationship with food. You deserve to eat normally. You deserve to feel like an unstoppable badass in your own skin. But it's really hard to feel like an unstoppable badass in your own skin when you're still overeating. It's like, how can you feel confident when you're still overeating? You're like, oh, I didn't need the third slice of pizza. Oh. And again, you might not feel guilty, but it's like, oh, no, I don't feel good. Okay, I'm way too full. It's hard to have rock solid confidence when you know that you weren't hungry and you just finished a bowl of popcorn and you're like, well, it's just in front of me. Or my husband pulled it out and I just had some. I wasn't even hungry. What the heck was I doing? Have you ever done that where all of a sudden you're eating a snack and you're like, I wasn't even hungry? You get to work through that so that food gets to be one of the easiest parts of your day. So this is what I wanted to come on and share with you guys today. Thank you guys so much for being here. And if you've not yet joined my Regulate and Rewire 30-day holiday challenge, I highly recommend you sign up and you join. Over the next 30 days, starting on November 20th, I'm hosting a 30-day holiday challenge where I'm going to help you become less impulsive with food, rewire your food habits, and have unshakable confidence when you show up to every single holiday social event this year. I know the holidays can be a stressful time for a lot of people. It can be an overwhelming time for a lot of people. There's different foods that maybe come around just one time per year. Then there's family comments that you have to navigate, friends, family members you haven't seen in a really long time, and you're like, how does my body look? You might have to navigate comments. People are always talking about dieting. I want to help you navigate all of this. I want you to walk into the holidays with unshakable confidence. I want you to enjoy all the delicious food, even if it comes around just one time per year, without putting it on a pedestal, without being like, well, I'm just going to overeat because it's the holidays. Oh, but like there's just so many sweets, so I'm just going to overdo it. And then start in January, I will get back on track. Like, no. You get to feel incredible this holiday. You get to feel amazing in your own skin. You get to leave each social event feeling satisfied and comfortably full, not stuffed. While some people are going to go into the holidays and not bother moving their workout, they're going to be super stressed out. They are going to be overeating at every single meal. not feeling the best in their own skin, then there's going to be you. Staying consistent with your habits, still moving your body out of a place of self-love, still prioritizing your health and routines, paying attention to your hunger and fullness cues, and not just overeating because it's the holidays. Oh, but everyone overeats. No, you got to feel amazing this holiday. You get to enjoy all of the delicious food, no restriction. You got to eat exactly what you're craving. If you want Aunt Becky's pumpkin pie, you're going to eat that. If you want these specific Christmas cookies, you're going to enjoy it. But you're going to be less impulsive when you do because of the trainings and the teachings I'm going to teach you inside of this 30-day Regulate and Rewire 30-day challenge. You get to feel in complete control with food. You're going to be able to navigate comments from family and friends. You're going to leave each social event comfortably full and satisfied, not stuffed. And I'm so excited. So be sure to join us. It's 30 days. We kick off on November 20th. There's going to be weekly trainings with me. And man, the holidays are such a special time of the year. I want you to be present with your loved ones. I want you to look back at this time and say, like, I remember that Christmas. I remember that holiday. I remember every single social event. I felt so good in my own skin. I was present with everyone there. I wasn't even thinking about the food. That gets to be your reality this year. You get to soak in every single magical moment of the holidays. It's the most wonderful time of the year. I don't want you to go into it anxious. I want you to feel calm and present. I don't want you to be stressing about the food. I want you to be laughing and making memories. And that will all happen inside of this 30-day challenge. So be sure to join. We kick off on November 20th, and I cannot wait to see you guys inside. Okay. Have a beautiful rest of your day, you guys. We'll see you soon. Bye, guys.